G'day folks, and welcome back to Kingdoms Forlorn. I'm picking up exactly where I left off from the last video. So you haven't missed anything. This is the area we've explored. I'm in the delve phase. So if you haven't watched the first video, you may want to go back through that. It's where I set up all the characters, go through our loadouts, go through our outpost phase, setting up the monsters, character setup, all that kind of stuff. And then we got to the delve phase, and this is where you begin to explore. And we only had one turn of that delve phase. A lot was revealed in that one turn for various reasons, largely because of the quest. But yeah, only one turn took place, and we moved down here to move I moved the character just to double check everything. So we have, yes, we've made some progress, but spoiler alert, there will be map spoilers. These aren't big spoilers. These are things that you would otherwise see as soon as you start playing the game. In the first video, there were some story spoilers, literally the prologue for your characters, the first thing you would otherwise read, and then the first quest for Paracelsa and the first investigation for the Fleisch Litter. So there will be stories, but will be spoilers, but these are very kind of early introductory opening spoilers, kind of the first things you would otherwise read. We are not in any way advanced through gameplay. These are not big twists or stories. And certainly in this first playthrough, I don't think there'll be anything really revealing or, yeah, spoiling any story anyway. So as you can see, we've moved one time, we've advanced one time through the story. And what are we doing here? Well, Paracelsa, again, if you've missed that video, Paracelsa was witness to an emissary of the king being assassinated, literally right in front of her. And everyone just kind of froze and nobody reacted, and the assassins fled. The assassins come from this cult who have fled through the city. And they are these purple markers here. So they are two groups of them fleeing in different directions. And it's our job, well, it's Paracelsus' quest to move the party. This is our party here. To move the party to one of those markers, spend a zeal and discard the token. And then we read the next thing to happen. Now they're split in different directions, which is problematic. I've decided to move down this way. I can't remember my rationale for doing so, but that's what's happened. I'm just going to check. This is 14, card 14, which connects to 3. Yeah. So these are unexplored. So I will point out a few things, just in case you missed the very end of that video. These generic tokens indicate unexplored areas. So even though we can see what's there, when we advance onto this card, we still have to go through the process as though it were an unexplored tile. You can scout out quite a few unexplored tiles to give you a sense of how things connect. This is handy to plan ahead, so I can see I'm going to head down to the Royal Plaza. But it's not a huge advantage because you still have to go through. Yes, it helps you plot out movement, but I wouldn't say it's a huge advantage. That's my personal thought thus far. It's good to know what's coming up, but if you're planning to move to this area anyway, then you're not really gaining much of an advantage, not much of a gameplay advantage, some sort of informational advantage, but it's very minor. Okay, so what else is happening? Look, let me just run through. We'll play through the delve phase and you'll see how this works. I did have to skip through what we did have at the end of the last playthrough. If I can find, here it is. We did have our first kingdom adventure. Okay, so what happens when you have a kingdom adventure? This was an exploration card, so I drew this exploration card. This was captured right at the end of the last video, and it said resolve a kingdom adventure. We basically, for the Principality of Stone, we roll on the kingdom adventure table. I rolled close to 100, the devil you know. In effect, there is a spooky figure on the path ahead. You have a choice. I opted as very kind of rookie knights, I opted to turn away and walk the other direction rather than try to confront that devilish figure with sort of flames in its eyes. So that's pretty much the only thing that happened on that first turn, which brings us to the second hour of our delve and our second delve step. The first thing we do is we travel. And I'm going to take our party. This is our party marker. It shows where we are on this delve map. And we are going to advance to tile number 11. Okay, so when we do so, it is unexplored. So I discard that unexplored marker and we proceed through the kingdom tile step. Okay. Now we'll point out, because it's worth noting, I can backtrack through any number of connected tiles. I seem to recall it only costs one time to, is it one time I think to do that? But it costs threat, if I'm hopefully remembering that correctly. Backtrack, I'm trying to remember. One of them is backtrack, you advance time by 1, you gain 1 threat for every kingdom tile you move through beyond the first. Okay, so it's a quick way to retrace your steps, but it does rapidly increase your threat level, which makes things more dangerous for you. Okay, so we advance we've moved. We resolve all symbols on the back. The first one is we advance time. We reduce our threat, nothing to worry about there. Then we check the new tile for paths leading into or out of it, just an exit to the deep fog. But we do have, okay, so we also have a point of interest on this as well. I should have known that was coming up. So we've placed corresponding tiles correctly. This symbol here, you may be able to see it. Let me bring the tile up a bit closer so you can really get a good look. So the symbol on the right there is the deep fog symbol. That basically, and I haven't used this yet, but this will basically allow us to take a shortcut. We can travel via the deep fog symbol, travel through the deep fog, we gain a threat, but then we choose any unexplored kingdom tile, perhaps way up here, near the other cult marker that we need to get to. Anywhere on the map, we check the chosen tile for its deep fog density. In that case, it'd be 6. And that determines the number of deep fog cards. Now the deep fog cards are just over to my right. These cards here, we would then draw 6 deep fog cards. And they have a deep fog value, they have a penalty, and some hazard effects. And we basically, you resolve those. So that may happen later on because I'm likely going to have to travel through the deep fog to get to the other end of the map. So we might talk about that later on. Okay, so I have resolved that side of the back side of the tile, just so we're aware of that. We then resolve any encounter monster spawns and movements. None. I'm just going to double check. Now we do have the cult. My apologies. At the beginning of the delve round, draw a minor... This is something I'm going to have to remember. Okay, so because of Paracelsus Quest, at the beginning of the delve round, draw a card and it moves. So it's going to move to the right. You see that arrow in the bottom? So this is all the minor mortis cards have a movement indicator. And this one tells us to move, very bottom right-hand corner, to the right. Now, they do move actually. I was about to say they don't move, but they move. Well, let's do these ones first because they're easy. They're going to move to medium to the right, which is on towards medium card number 9. We actually reveal this. We reveal it. And it is unexplored. Okay, running out of space. So it's revealed unexplored. And we will place connecting tiles as well, that face down. So we'll place, why don't I have, oh, okay, this connects to down here. Interesting. It is connected. I don't know why I put 3 up there. 3 up there. I'm a bit confused. 3, 9, that's all connected. You can see how this connects. But then how does 3... Oh, this is not, my apologies. Okay, I've made a mistake here. This is the symbol for the large tile 3. That's why I made that mistake. So large tile 3 goes there. All right, so you've got to be careful. Read these symbols carefully. Small 14, done. Small 3 goes up there. Large 3 down here. Okay, so that's where I made the mistake. Oh, got to watch that. Now, this other group here, if they were to move to the right, the only thing here is fog. Now, it's unclear, but I don't think they move onto the fog. It does clarify, they don't move through Panzer Gates into sub-kingdoms. It doesn't specify fog, but it's unclear. I'm going to house rule that they don't move on to fog. Okay. Okay, so that should have happened pre-delve. Then I do my movement. Move on to here. Everything's resolved. Resolve the symbols on the front. Now I don't know from the Regional Knight story paragraph. Okay, so story step. This should happen later, I think, because that's a story paragraph. So I think we'd resolve the symbols first, which is, you'll notice, 1 point of interest token. 1 point of interest token, yes. Now, important to check that, I found the first gap in the rulebook. These are points of interest, and I was just double checking. So when you encounter a generic point of interest, this is a named point of interest, signs of struggle, which you can consult on the location sheet. When you encounter a generic point of interest like this with nothing named, and again, I'll highlight this, it just says 1 diamond. What you do here is you draw the top exploration card, which I'll do in a moment, and you add a modifier. That is in the Learn to Play booklet. Very clear, you run through an example of this. I've just searched the index for point of interest, and there's no entry for point of interest in the index. So that is a gap. I went to keyword and there is no entry for point of interest. So, and I cannot find it in the rulebook. So I had to go back to the Learn to Play to find that. Just be aware. Backtracking, shortcuts. Yeah, Kingdom Tile step. I'm trying to find, I cannot find reference to those points of interest. So it is in the Learn to Play guide, but I cannot find it in the rulebook. Okay, so luckily I know what to do. Okay, so let's resolve this. So we have a point of interest, value 1. I draw the top exploration card and I add 4 to that value for a total of 5. That brings us to the effects of a splintered cart. Distribute 4 gold between all knights. If I'm at devil level, it's 12 instead. I'm not at devil level, so I just distribute that gold between my knights. 4 gold. So Fleischhunter gets 2, brings him up to 6. Paracelsa gets 2 gold, brings her up to 2. Straightforward, that's how it's resolved. Something to remember from the Learn to Play. Okay, so that is that symbol. We are in the the craftsman district. Okay. Then we get to the exploration step. So that was not the exploration step. That was, I believe, specific to that. Now it's resolve. Oh no, it does say, my apologies. It says, resolve the previously flipped exploration card. We used it to check a number, but that doesn't mean the card was discarded. Okay, so this is Stonequake. Place a rubble token on a random path leading from your current kingdom tile. It is closed off until the end of this expedition. Now, I'm guessing this is a rubble tile. It says a random path. Okay, so to ascertain a random path, we draw a card from the minor mortis, and it is to the left. So we've had a stonequake, and our path back is blocked until the end of this expedition. Hopefully, there'll be another way around to get back to where we need to get. Okay, so that's happened. Stonequake, it is closed off. That is complete. Okay, that's the exploration step. Done. Now we get the story step, and this is where we read from our night story paragraphs and resolve any time-specific events. So this is now, I believe, where we read the story paragraphs 29XX. So let's look for paragraph 29. How would we... okay, so it is not in the night book, it is in the kingdom book. So we go to exploration ciphers section. Fleischritter has code 07, so for 2907 we consult 2907. You're used a statuary of the sword man, the saints, popes from times gone by, not creatures like the one depicted here, a large aggressive bird of some kind, wings and talons stretched forward to seize the world ahead. Something about it unnerves you, a raising of the hairs in your neck, but nothing seems out of place. Regardless, you feel like you need to move on. There's nothing here for you. Perhaps one of your companions has found something useful. Return to the delve. Okay, so that code is not necessarily for Fleischritter. For Paracelsus, that was Paracelsa, my apologies. For Fleischritter, he reads 2923. The fringe of the forests bounding by the Principality are already scarcely populated. Most of the game turned to stone or fled. But here, around this statue, it's as if the graven bird of prey were a real predator. Its very presence enough to send potential prey scurrying for cover. You wish you could tell what kind of bird it was. Are these carvings on its feathers? Okay, so just again to bring this card up to give you a good look, there's an unusual statue there right in the middle. Okay, and it gives us a code. So this code is 3, return to the delve. Now, that's the code there. That code, sorry, there it is. That code is 3. I'll need to make a note of that, which I'll do later on. And then return to the delve. Okay, so we're done with that symbol, and we are done with that delve. We've gone through all the stages of the delve phase. We're back to the start of the next delve. First thing we do is we draw a minor, sorry, let me put these back. They should all go back when we're done. A minor mortis to determine where our colts move to. And they're moving up. Okay, so these guys will attempt to move up. There's nothing up for them to move to. And these guys will not move up into us. If they would move up into us, they don't move. So that colt is not moving at all. Then we do a travel step, and we are moving down. Now hold on a sec. I did just notice, I should have seen this earlier. There are 3 lock tokens on that card. I completely missed that. Yep, completely missed it. I just didn't see it. It's so small. Okay, well, what this means is that I should have placed a Panzergate token. In fact, a triple Panzergate token there. What this means is that that colt should not have moved south. They should have stayed exactly where they were because they cannot move. They cannot move through Panzergate. So I'm backtracking a bit here to make up for the mistake because I completely missed that symbol. So confirming they will not move through Panzergate. So they should have stayed there, which means last turn, if I backtrack everything a bit, I should have encountered them, okay? Because as I moved through here, before the rubbles, before the earthquake, I encounter them. Now, if I move onto a kingdom tile with their token, Zeal 1, Now, zeal, 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 zeal. So I've got to spend one zeal, one of my 6 zeal. This is one of Paracella's sort of resources. She spends that, discards the token, and then the first time she does that, read 0005. Okay, here we go. The trail of the cultists is still fresh. You're not sure if this was the one who attacked and killed the emissary or another, but it matters little. They'll spill their secrets one way or another. You turn the corner and find a dead end ahead. The cultist comes up just short of the brick wall and looks about for any way to escape. With nowhere else to go, they turn to face you. You brandish your weapon. By the authority granted to me by the Church of the All-Father, you growl, you are under arrest for the crime of heresy. You will surrender and face judgment at the feet of His Holiness in Crost. Do not resist. The cultist, a young woman clad in a simple robe stained with stone-grey dust, sneers at you. That's when you see the long serrated dagger in her hand. Before you can close the distance, she's raised the blade to her throat, plunging it into her flesh. A flood of crimson spurts from the severed artery, and she collapses while you watch on, numb with surprise. You failed to understand the fanatical lengths to which they go to protect their sect. Suddenly, the ground shudders beneath you, and pallid, writhing bodies squirm up from under the cobbled street, drawn forth by the spilled blood. The nearest pale blood worm snaps at you viciously, and the rest of the swarm turns to face you. Proceed to an ambush against the pale blood worms. Once it's resolved, return to the delve. So we're going to an ambush against the pale blood worms. All right, I'll pause and we'll set up an ambush. Okay, so here you can see the setup, and this is the encounter board. So because I'm at mob level, we use the mob grid here. Up above you can see vassal, and off to the right, devil, king, vassal, and I'm not sure about the one off to the right there. But this is the mob, this is what I'm using. The way this works is because it's an ambush, I have to set up my knights first. And what are these clue tokens and why are they there? You may recall I have an escort service contract, and this requires me to set up these clue tokens. Basically, the way this works is you roll a power die, that red die off in the top left corner, and you place the clue symbols on the indicated symbols on the encounter board. Then I set up my 4 knights. Same idea, roll the dice, place a knight. You may notice I'm missing a squire. I rolled for Bianca, the foolhardy squire, and she rolled a symbol that was not available. And the rules say that she then sits out this encounter. Then I roll for the pale blood worms. You can see their encounter card on the right. A few things to note here. So they're level 1, mob level. There are 2 of them, monster count 2. This is their to hit, what I need to hit. This is their AT value, a couple of other modifiers which I'll talk about in a moment. But yes, so they do the same thing. They roll, I place them on the encounter board. Unfortunately for the monsters, if I roll a number that isn't available, they just go adjacent to that number. So that's why they are placed in this setup. And that's pretty much it. The encounter board, at least, is set up for this encounter. And one final setup clarification. So the monsters face their monsters face a direction basically to do the most damage. So this worm here will face this direction, and this one will face here to hurt that knight over there. And hopefully with that done correctly, we are ready to go. Again, this is an ambush. So we set up the knights first, then the monsters. Normally, with an encounter, you do monsters first, and then the knights. So that's the positioning step done. Again, keep in mind this is a 1-round encounter. It's a quick battle with these worms that have just popped out. The second step for this encounter is the monster round step. It's very straightforward. The monsters, facing their direction, target every knight in the indicated area. And you can see here, the indicated area, this is their facing. So this worm here is facing to the right. It'll target the 2 spaces in front of it, which includes the Fleischritter, and this is not Bianca, this is Ralof, the eager squire. So it targets both of them. Anybody in that round simply loses 1 vigor. pretty straightforward. So, if I understand correctly, Flash Ritter loses 1 vigor, and Ralof the Eager Squire loses 1 vigor. Do not, it's very clear, do not draw Mortis cards other than Judicium. So yeah, pretty straightforward. They do a bit of damage, that's it. The other one facing to the left is targeting Paracelsa. It targets the 2 spaces in front of it, so nothing in the first space, and then Paracelsa suffers 1 vigor as well. Now, there is another special rule for ambushes. After the first monster round, for ambush or dragon encounters, repeat the knight positioning step. So I'll show you how this works now that I've done it once. So basically for each knight, we reposition them. They go to a grail. Now, there are no grail markers. And I think that means that Paul Paracelsa has to step out of the encounter. Oh, before I do that, they can decide not to move. Then repeat the monster round. Do this only once. Okay, so they can decide not to move. Each night they perform an attack. Okay, but if she doesn't, okay, if Paracelsa doesn't move, then she can't attack, because during the night round step, they can either attack or do what's called a help action to place an opening. She can't attack, so she might choose, well, I think she's going to have to choose to move. So she's rolled the dice, she's rolled the grail symbol, which is nothing available, so she has to step out. That's unusual, but that's what it says to do. This dude, wow, geez, I'm in trouble now because I don't know what to do. So he'll stay where he is. He's going to try and damage the worm next to him. And I think that means I have to try and move Ralof and hopefully get a sword or a double sword. That's a double sword. Okay, so Ralof now moves next to this worm. That's good. Okay, so I am in a position where both of these knights can attack the worms next to them. That's unusual, that's for ambush only. Then I repeat the monster round step. So again, this monster doing here, attacking that way, does a damage to, not Bianca, sorry, to Flash Ritter. And the one below does a damage to Roloff. Okay, so this one facing this way does 1 wound here. This one facing that way does 1 wound there. That's it. Now, so that's because of an ambush. We do that twice. Knight setup, monster attack. Knight setup or repositioning, monster attack. That's only during ambushes. Now we get to the knight step. Once the monster round is over, it's my time to shine. I've got 1 round to win, and each knight can either attack or help. Now, basically, I need to kill both of these worms, so I'm going to attack. Let's do Flash Ritter first. Is there a valid target in his weapon's range? Yes, it's right next to him. So I declare the attack and my active weapon. Well, I didn't upgrade my axe for nothing, so I'm going to use my felling axe over here. I raise Flash Ritter's passion. This is going to be off screen. I'm going to focus the attention on this map down here and the weapons. I'm going to make my attack roll. Okay, this is where I get the d10s. And again, so what have I got here? My axe rolls 1 dice. And you always include the white critical dice, so 1 dice. I get a +1 modifier. Break, commit. Let's double check what commit means. So this is a keyword. What does the keyword commit mean? To attack with this weapon, gain 1 hit. Okay, so Flash Ritter gains 1 hit, not a problem. All right, so attack roll. Now the worms, I need a 6 or more to hit. Okay, one thing. So you may recall, I'm going to bring it over. Flash Ritter's talent is, when you attack, if there are no opening or break tokens in the pool, immediately place 1 in the knight pool. Well, I can tell you there are no opening or break tokens in the pool, so he's going to add 1 to the pool. Now, because these worms require a 6 or more to hit, and I'm a bit worried about that, I'm going to add an opening token to the pool. Okay, so that makes it now from a 6+ to hit to a 5+ to hit. What else can I do? Well, Fleischritter's also got his crackling stones. For one use of his stones, let me bring this up as well. Here we go. For one use of that, doesn't require an action, place a break or opening token in the pool. I'm going to place a break token. So it's +1 to hit, and hopefully if I hit, because these worms are going to cost 3 AT, I need to cause 3 swords. So I'm going to need, I think, some extra swords to hit. So I'm going to do that as well. All right, let's make my attack roll. 5+ to hit, a 9. Didn't need the +1, but nice that we had it anyway. That'll disappear. I can get rid of it now though, just for convenience. So I've hit the pale worms. Now what do? Okay, I take my weapon and I take power dice equal to its power per hit. Only one dice, only one hit, so I get a black and a red, as you can see down here. But Fleischritter, on his character portrait, always adds a red dice to his combat, so I get 1 for him as well. Oops. When I hit, I also add, well, actually, sorry, this happens during the first ability window. So I believe I can now add a second break token to the pool. Let me check that. Yep, the abilities can come from weapons. So he's used his axe, which has the break 1, so I can add another break 1 token. Great. He also has, let me also highlight, he has 1 passion because he attacks, so he could add another break token or an opening. I'm going to save this, I already know, I'm going to save this for my second ability window to add an opening to help my squire try to hit, okay? So we'll leave that there for now. Now, first ability window is complete. Now we do our power roll. And again, these worms have an AT value of 3, so I need 3 swords and or break tokens, the grail, to successfully wound. 1, 2 grail, 3 grail. Okay, so only 1 sword, pretty bad roll, but I can convert that grail token into a break and convert that grail token into a break for a total of 3. So lucky I added my break now. Lucky I used my stones to add a break as well. Is that how I use the stones? No, I used my axe. It created a break. His arc. No, he didn't use his arc yet. How did I get the second break? This, that's right. Crackling stones, create a break. Opening with my special ability, and then the 2 break tokens for 1, 2, 3 hits, which is enough to wound these things. What are they called again? Pale blood worms. Now, another sort of special encounter rule. If you do enough to reach or exceed the AT value, I place a scrape on the encounter monster card. That's what a scrape looks like. Then resolve the scrape effect and clear the encounter pool. Okay, so 1 scrape is 2 random knights suffer 1 bane and may refresh 1. Clear the encounter pool. Clear the encounter pool. Okay, so 2 random knights, there's only 2 there, so they both suffer Bane 1 and may refresh 1. Okay, well, we know what the Bane tokens look like. Bane 1 just means you take a Bane token. So there's 1 of those for Ralph and 1 for Fleischritter. Again, every character has a Bane limit. If they reach that Bane limit, they die. And refresh simply means they take their, what are they called, talent cards, abilities, and advance them. So if they're on cooldown, they now become available. But I didn't use any of those. I should have looked at those carefully, actually. Rush, gain 3, vigor, reflex, stand up. Nothing really that I needed for this little encounter. Okay, so I've scraped the monster, then I clear the encounter pool. Okay. And basically, the encounter pool, it's interesting. You've got the night pool in clashes, but it's referred to as the encounter pool in encounters. And it's basically your break tokens, your hit tokens, things like that. So we cleared the encounter pool. The scrape token remains. Okay. And then I go to Ralof the Eager Squire's turn. Okay, so Ralof declares his attack and his active weapon. So he's a squire. He doesn't have an active weapon. Instead, as I've discussed in the past, we resolve his attack using the squire deck. So he increases his passion by 1. He makes an attack roll. So he needs 6 or more. Oh, wait, my apologies. Second ability, clear the encounter pool, second ability window. Now, this is where I want to add an opening token. So at the end of Fleischritter's turn, he's adding an opening token to make it easier for Ralof to try and hit this second worm. Ralof comes along with his Squire medal. He needs a to hit of 5 or more. It's not good enough. So he's going to re-roll. He's going to increase his heat by 1. You can only re-roll once. He needs a 5 or more. He got an 8. Oops, sorry about that. All right, so he's got an 8. Oh, that's off camera. He's got an 8, a success. First ability window. Ralof can... he can't do much. He can add another opening. Maybe he should have gone first. Too late now. He could add another opening. Not much he can do then. Not to worry. So now he needs to make a power roll. And again, power roll, he needs 3 or more. This is going to be tough. Power is only 2. He needed 1 more. He has, but. Okay, I'm going to bring Ralof over to show you what's going on here. This is Ralof. These are his clues. He can spend a clue to add another hit. So Ralof can now spend his starting secondary green clue to add another hit, making that 2 + 1, 3 hits, which is what he needs to wound the Parblub worms, or not wound them, but cause a scrape against them. So these are double-sided. I could flip that over to make it 2, or I can just another one to make it more visually clearer. Okay, so that's our second scrape. I exceeded it, I scraped the monster, place a scrape token, and then resolve the scrape effect. With 2 scrape tokens now, success, 2 knights may refresh 1, place a break token in the knight pool. Okay, well, we probably won't need it, but let's place a break token in the knight pool. When all knights have taken their turns, proceed to the final step, the resolution step. Okay, so count the number of scrapes dealt, 2, and resolve the effect from the encounter card. I thought I already did that. Well, we do it again. Place another break token. Okay, interesting. So it says, when you attack, place a scrape token, resolve the scrape effect, and then for the resolution step, do it again. Count the scrapes, resolve the corresponding effect. 2 knights can refresh, place a break token. Okay. Then clear the encounter components. Okay. And return to the phase that was interrupted. Okay, so how do I kill these bloody things? Scrape effect, remove the monster. Scrape effect, resolution. My apologies. I've been doing it wrong. Okay, during combat, this is the scrape effect. During the resolution step, this is the scrape effect. So when I cause a scrape, I remove it from the board during combat. When he causes a scrape, he removes it. I don't suffer Bane 1 because that's during the resolution step. Okay. Apologies for that if you're following along and frustrated. That's why. So they don't get Bane 1 we don't get those break tokens which aren't needed anyway. So, place a scrape, resolve scrape effect, 2 scrape tokens. They're now removed. The worms are both dead. Yay. Okay, the worms are dead. So, just to clarify, these encounter cards are divided into scrape effect during combat and resolution step, which is the final step you do based on the total number overall. I had 2, so I would only then apply this effect, which isn't really needed. Okay, so the monsters died, a few little mistakes there. My escorted people, who are they again? They are rich people, basically, that I'm escorting. They survived. And what triggered that? That was going all the way back now. Let me clear up this board and we'll go back to the delve phase. Okay, so that was triggered by Paracelsa, the suicide of the cult person, the worms. Once the ambush is resolved, returned to the delve. So we're back. We're back. Where were we? Here's our guy. Here's our party marker. We're here. We're kind of trapped because there's a landslide over here, earthquake, rubble. There's a triple marker here. We are going to have to go through the delve to get out of here. In fact, yeah, no, that's right. We're going to have to do that. Okay, but for now, look, 40 minutes into this, I've made a couple of mistakes. I'm going to pause here. I will acknowledge those mistakes in the comments below, so anybody watching can check that. What we have to do now is, in fact, get over here. So it's not such a bad idea. I wonder if we can, I'll check the delve rules and see what we need to do. Should have some more cards, I think. Look, a couple of things to sort out, but that's where we are at. We've survived our first ambush encounter. It's quite scary. Importantly, we have survived with our escorts intact. They're quite healthy and wealthy, so that's good news. All right, folks, thanks for watching. Okay, this is just we're into the second hour of our delve, so you can see how just that delve phase is quite consuming. This is not a formal clash. There's an exhibition clash here, a full clash here. We're just the second hour of potentially 16 hours of delving, and it's taken up quite a lot of time. As I learn, as I work through, as I explain. All right, folks, more to come. Thank you for watching, and take care. Bye for now.